Hello and welcome to another episode of the Film Mobcast with me, Joe.
What the fuck do you want?
I have a special guest today, and it's Kat, at the Film Cat on Twitter, who writes for the filmmagazine.com. She's here today to tell us about a new and exciting competition that's going to be coming to the filmmagazine.com and our various social network sites later today. Say hello.
Hello.
Be gentle, it's my first time.
As always, you can find all of the latest podcasts from the Film Mobcast on soundcloud.com/the Film Mobcast. The filmmagazine.com with one M is where you can find all of our things. We have Twitter, Tumblr, YouTube, Pinterest, Google+. All of those are the Film Magazine with two M's, just so you don't get confused. But the filmmagazine with one M.com is where you can find everything. So you just go on there, look on our social tab, you'll find everything that you need. Today we're going to be interviewing Kat, as I've said. So yeah, we'll just jump straight into it.
Hello.
Why are you here today?
Well, I'm here to tell you about our new competition that we're going to start running on the filmmagazine.com. It's a short film competition that anyone can enter. All you've got to do is just send us a link to your short film that you've made, make us a trailer. Yeah, that is it's quite simple, really. So just to reiterate, it'll be sending a trailer or the whole movie via YouTube clip to where? To my email, which is Kat Lawson at thefilmmagazine.com. That's Kat with a K.
So Kat Lawson at thefilmmagazine.com. The Film Magazine again with one M.
Yeah.
Just so everyone knows. If you don't remember the email address, we'll link it to you in SoundCloud. Also, we'll be promoting it all over Twitter and Tumblr and Facebook, so keep an eye out for it. This is a really good chance for everyone who's ever made any form of independent, small budget, backyard, handheld camera type movie to submit their film and get over 1,000 social network likes and follows to look at it. We have a really awesome base audience for this website, and it'd be really cool to support the local independents with everything they need to be supported with, because let's face it, it's hard to get a movie out there these days. So yeah, just to reiterate again, it's the filmmagazine.com's short film competition.
Yep.
And we'll be emailing where?
Kat Lawson at thefilmmagazine.com. That's Kat with a K and Film Magazine with one M.
You can start submitting today, I believe.
Yeah.
Yeah, and when's the closing date?
The closing date is the 30th of June this year. And then hopefully the first few days in July, we're going to post all of our entrants with links to their website and their film and a little synopsis of each film.
Yeah, so basically you're guaranteeing that everyone who submits a film will get a promotion in some way.
We'll promote every entry that we get.
You can get your film out to over 1,000 people, countless more through Google searches and website hits and that kind of thing. The submission date is
30th of June.
It ends on the 30th of June.
Yeah, and then the first couple of weeks in July, like I say, we're going to upload links for all the films that have been entered, and then all the staff at Film Magazine, we're going to come up with a short list of our 15 favourite films that have been entered, and then from the middle of July, the last couple of weeks in July, we're going to open it up to votes from our readers and all our social network followers, so that you can vote for whichever of the 15 shortlisted ones, whichever's your favourite. And then beginning of August, we'll be announcing the winners and runners-up.
Yeah, so basically, if you would like to get your film out to as many people as possible, we can offer you a platform. All you have to do is send a link to a trailer or a link to the full film that you've made to Kat Lawson at thefilmmagazine.com. That's KATLAWSON at thefilmmagazine.com, and we will round up all of the submissions, promote each and every single one of them to all of our social network followers, and then open voting in which you will yourselves be able to vote, as will anyone that you know. So get everyone involved, get your film out there to as many people as possible. We'll announce a winner, we'll promote that winner on the website for as long as it takes to get people to put eyes on your product. One more time, it's Kat Lawson at filmmagazine.com. Submit YouTube clips, submit Vimeo clips, wherever you've made your short film, and we'll get as many eyes on it as we can, and we'll promote it to the best of our abilities. Anything more to add?
I'll put up a full list of like rules and what we're looking for. Obviously want a link to your film, want a trailer for it as well that we can use on our YouTube channel, and obviously link it to your full film, and a poster for it as well for us to use, and a little synopsis and your list of cast and crew. I think just so everyone gets the recognition that they deserve for taking part in your film, because you need a good crew behind you to make a good film.
Yeah, so we'll have the list of rules and regulations, terms and conditions, that kind of thing, on the website, and from there you'll be able to access links to who you need to email and things if you haven't got it already. But again, just to reiterate, it's a really good opportunity. I hope loads of people enter, because we want to support independent film, and obviously as independent filmmakers it'd be a great chance for you to get more eyes on your product. It's a great opportunity, you know. It's literally free publicity that we're offering you. Yeah. So get involved, get as many people as you can involved, and let's have fun. Let's watch lots of films. Yeah. And I believe students can enter as well.
Of course, yep. No age limit.
So
the young, the old, the middle-aged.
Yeah. So whether you've made a film in your backyard with your brother, or you've made a film on behalf of a small independent company, you can submit your entries to Kat Lawson at thefilmmagazine.com. We have more information on thefilmmagazine.com that you can find out moving forward. We'll be promoting it left, right and centre, so keep an eye out for it. And I think that rounds it up, does it? What we're going for?
Pretty much. Yeah, I think so.
So now I'm going to change direction a little bit, and we're going to move into an interview with Kat, because no one's met her before. We haven't been introduced to her like we have to myself and Katie. So, Kat Lawson.
Joseph Wade.
Just a little bit about you, like a little self-profiling.
Well, as you know, I went to Sunderland University and studied film and media. I know that because that's where we met. First week we were there.
Yeah.
And nearly 6 years later, we haven't killed each other, so that's testament to both of us at times. I love film. Love watching them, writing about them, writing scripts, storyboards, everything. I just love being a part of, and you know, it's such a massive part of our culture today. It's just so interesting to study. Like I'm gonna go back to university and study cinema again next year, because I just want to learn more. It's just become such a big part of popular culture. Well, just our culture in general. Yeah. And I just love it.
So like you say you're into script writing and stuff. Have you got any ideas at the minute going?
Yeah, I'm working on a couple of projects. They're kind of in the development phase of putting my ideas down so I can start writing them into scripts. But
anything you can share?
Ooh, not quite yet.
No.
Got a short film where I've got storyboarded, as you know, because you starred in the storyboard.
Yeah.
Back when we were at uni, I'm going to develop that a bit more. Yeah. And I've got a couple of feature-length ideas running around my head, so hopefully I can trip one of them up and get it on paper soon.
Yeah, and that...
Because that was actually, when we did our film resolutions at the beginning of this year, one of mine was to finish writing my script, so
yeah.
I've got 8 months left.
Yeah, you've got 8 months left. Just over 8 months.
Yeah.
If you want to catch those film resolutions, by the way, you can go onto the Film Magazine's Tumblr, which is thefilmmagazine.tumblr.com. I think 5 of us submitted New Year's resolutions, and let's be honest, we've already failed a few of them. I don't know about you, but I have personally.
I've achieved one of mine.
Yeah?
Well, one of mine was to go to a film festival, because I've never been before, and I went to BFI, Future Film Festival, last month. Yeah, a month ago. I went to the Fiction Day, which was brilliant.
Yeah, I remember. There's a great piece on thefilmmagazine.com about Fiction Day, and I suggest you go to the website and look at that. It's under the editor's picks, which is very near the top of the website. It was, from what I understand and from what Kat has told me and has written on the website, a really informative experience. something that I think everyone should check out. BFI do a great job of promoting these kind of things and putting these kind of things on. And I understand that was kind of the catalyst for this short film competition idea.
Yeah, well, when I was there, obviously we're based in Yorkshire, so we're obviously in the northeast. And obviously BFI South Bank of the Thames is in London. And that's where our film industry is based, you know. And so many people were based either at the BFI or at the National Film and Television School or through BAFTA, and they were on about how our film industry is great, it's booming and everything like this, and I'm thinking, it isn't up north, you know, it's not grim up north. I know they say that down south, but, you know, we don't have those same opportunities, and like, it is, you know, I can up and move to London tomorrow if I wanted to go and try and find a job. I mean, my best mate lives there, I could sleep on a floor, but, you know, it's not realistic, and, you know, I'm thinking there's got to be more opportunities, there's got to be more ways of getting your work noticed, and so I thought, well, let's give this a go.
Yeah.
Like I said, it came from a Future Film Festival, which is aimed at young filmmakers, but obviously there's no age limit on our competition. But yeah, if you're like in your late teens or early 20s and you're studying film or you're just doing your best to try and get into the industry, you need every helping hand you can get. And like I say, we've only been on the go since last July, and we've made like massive steps forward because we've got amazing fan base and supporters, and we love you all. Yeah. And so if we can use some of that to help other people, then I think as lovers of film, it's our duty if we can help other people.
And also, we've been in that sort of situation before. Like Kat's already mentioned that she's developing storyboards for her own film. I've made a short film before. I've been in a situation where I've wanted more people to see things that I've made creatively. Obviously, we're both in a position, as are the rest of our team, where we want to have the filmmagazine.com go out to as many people as possible as well. So we know what it's like to try and forge our way into the industry, and it would be an excellent addition to your CV, your resume, your
show reel.
If you were one of the 15 shortlisted films for the filmmagazine.com's short film competition.
Yeah, but even if you don't get to the shortlist, it's still something amazing that you can say you've done something, you've made. Yeah. Everyone's got a camera on their phone these days, you know, recording equipment's becoming cheaper and cheaper. Anyone can go out and make a short film of some description, but to say that you've entered it into a competition, you've put it out, you've put your work out there, you've put yourself out there, and it's such an amazing thing to do.
Yeah, and like we've said before, everyone will get promoted in some form or fashion. We'll make sure that everyone's at least the title and the poster of each film gets put out there.
Yeah, definitely.
And that's to over 1,000 people already. So yeah, just again, Kat Lawson at thefilmmagazine.com. Submit your work. We'd love to help you out. It'd be great to see as many entrants as possible. You make our job last longer. That's more fun for us. Trust us.
And July it's our first birthday.
It is, yeah.
So yeah,
we'll be celebrating our first birthday with that one.
So yeah, we can have our competition and our birthday at the same time.
Yeah.
We'll have a fun month in July.
Yeah, we're going to have to make sure we do something quite special for that. I think an event of some kind will have to happen.
It's my birthday as well. On the same day as the film magazines.
Nice. Right, so just again, Kat Lawson at thefilmmagazine.com is where you can submit your stuff. I'm Joe and I'm here with Kat, and just to remind everyone, I'm normally here with Katie. You can check out our other stuff on soundcloud.com/thefilmmobcast. You can tweet us directly using the hashtag #thefilmmobcast. You can also tweet us directly at the Film Magazine. You can find all of our work and all of our stuff on thefilmmagazine.com. And as I say, usually I'm here with Katie and we're discussing all sorts of contemporary topics. Like last week we discussed Star Wars announcements, we discussed Frozen 2 being announced, we also answered the questions of what is the best movie car. And I know that Kat here is a big fan of cars, so I'm just going to open that question out to her because I feel like it's appropriate to get her opinion on something that we've already discussed. me and Katie came up with the DeLorean as the most iconic movie car of all time. Obviously, we discussed the Minis from The Italian Job as well. We discussed Dom Toretto's Dodge. I think I was calling it Mustang a lot last week, and it wasn't. I think it was a Dodge Charger, 1970 Dodge Charger. And Chitty Chitty Bang Bang was on there as well. Just throwing it out there, what do you think is probably the most iconic car in movie history?
I don't know, because you've come up with such a great list. Like, obviously, you've got Chitty Chitty Bang Bang, which was a big part of all our childhoods,
Yeah,
obviously.
definitely.
You know, I can still kind of remember the song. I'm not going to sing it. But yeah, you know, it was a big part of our childhood. And then, obviously, Back to the Future, iconic film, you know, classic film it's become. But I think because it's a personal favourite, I've got to say the camper van in Little Miss Sunshine.
That's a good choice. It's a good choice.
Well, it is one of my favourite films. I absolutely adore it. And I love VW campers as well. So
Yeah. It's an iconic vehicle by itself, but that movie kind of elevated it again. Like, it became part of the social conscious. Like, to understand the family values of the yellow camper van. That's definitely something that happened.
I mean, you think life's changing so much these days, you know, everything's changing, family values are different, you know, our men and women's roles within the family are changing from the traditional roles, and it's just, like you say, it brought it all into sort of social consciousness. It's just such an amazing film, I just love it. But I've also got to give a shout out to the Minis. In the original, the remake was dire.
Yeah.
It was awful.
That's the original Italian Job, just to clarify if no one gets where we're coming from.
Yeah, it's a British film with our Minis in Italy and...
Yeah, not an American film with German Minis in America.
Yeah,
is what we're saying.
Bus and the gold hanging off the edge of the cliff. The original's the best.
Yeah, and I agree with that completely. Just to kind of wrap up that question, you're saying the yellow minivan from Little Miss Sunshine's the best vehicle of all time, and to be honest, I wouldn't have argued if we'd have come up with that as the answer last week, because it is definitely an iconic car. We, just in case anyone's interested in that movie and is a big fan of the yellow camper van, we actually sell some merchandise with that on, and that's on redbubble.com. So if you go to thefilmmagazine.com, go to the shop tab at the top of the page, and you'll come to our portfolio of artwork that you can buy across a variety of different ranges of products. So you can buy the yellow camper van on a t-shirt, a poster, stickers, that kind of thing.
And just remember, everybody, pretend to be normal.
Yeah. So, the answer to this next question may be very similar to the answer to the last question. But what's your favourite film?
Oh, a difficult one. I think I've got three, really.
Right.
Little Miss Sunshine.
Yep.
For the reasons I've just said. Rush, because, you know, I've been watching Formula One since I was about 9 days old.
Yeah.
According to my dad, so...
Another car film.
Yeah, so I was brought up, my dad's an ex-rally driver, I was brought up around motorsport, you know, on rally stages, things like that. So motorsport's been a big part of my life, and I liked Senna. It was good, but I have issues with it, which I'm not going to go into because we don't have enough time.
That's Senna, the documentary, right?
But I think Rush was just fantastic. It was so well written, so well acted.
Chris Hemsworth is phenomenal in it.
And Daniel
Brühl, yeah. He's phenomenal in everything, though. So. Yeah,
well, I rewatched Inglourious Basterds a few weeks ago because it's so long since I'd watched it and I just couldn't place him, and so I rewatched it and I was like, wow. Yeah. And then it's been years since I'd seen it. I was like, wow, yeah, he is really such an amazing actor. Yeah. And I think you've got to play Niki Lauda.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. My favourite scene of the whole movie is when he's driving the girl down the countryside, and just the way he is, knowing the legend of Niki Lauda, that's kind of what you'd expect him exactly what he did. And I always remember hearing an interview from Daniel Bruhl where he said when he met Niki Lauda in real life, Niki Lauda mentioned like, oh, I thought they would have got someone better looking, or something like that, and that always made me laugh because again, that movie and the way Daniel Bruhl played him was exactly what I expected Niki Lauda to be like.
That wasn't the interview I thought you were going to reference. I remember, I think it was actually, it might have been on a red carpet, the premiere in London. They interviewed Daniel Bruhl. You know, what was your first meeting with Niki Lauda like? And he said, well, actually, the first time I spoke to him was on the phone. He said, well, since you're playing me, you know, we kind of better meet up. So, you know, come to Vienna, but only bring hand luggage, because if I don't like you, you can piss right off again. And, you know, like, obviously, with my dad being a massive Formula One fan as well, so I sort of grew up with all these legends about Niki Lauda, and that's just exactly like, it's just exactly the stories that you hear and how he is now, like, with his involvement with Mercedes. It's just, it's so well, it's just exactly how you'd expect him to be in his younger days.
I think the film also encapsulated the time period really well. I feel like Formula One, more so then than it is now, was such a superstar sport. Like, if you were successful in Formula One, you was an idol. You were like a rock star. Yeah. You know, it was that kind of lifestyle. I think it's changed a lot. Yeah, definitely. Not entirely for the better. In some ways for the better, because like safety and everything's moved on in other ways. Yeah. We started the season last weekend with 15 cars on the grid. You know, we should still have 24, but you know, it just brought to life this golden age. That's what the 70s was. It was the golden age of Formula One. Yeah. You got past the 60s, which was the killer years. Came before Prost and Senna dominated the 80s. Then you had Schumacher, who was like my childhood hero, dominating the noughties, and so you had like Hakkinen, Damon Hill, like in the late 90s, and it just encapsulates this golden age where they say you were like a rock star if you were a successful Formula One driver. It was and I think Chris Hemsworth in that movie encapsulates that really well, because Chris Hemsworth is incredibly good looking. He's obviously incredibly famous as well because of his role in Thor, and I feel like he, as a star persona, brought that to the film, but also played it off as well as it could be played off. In my opinion. I think him and Daniel Bruhl played off each other so amazingly well, and they just brought to life this bygone era of motor racing, and I absolutely loved it. I agree. So, like, Little Miss Sunshine and Rush are two of your favourite films. What's your third favourite? Secret Window. Is that Johnny Depp and John Turturro? It is, yeah. It is, yeah. And it's based on a Stephen King novel, I believe. I haven't actually read it, but the film is just so amazing. It's so well acted. I think we've got used to seeing Johnny Depp, like, for the last few years. We've got used to seeing him as Jack Sparrow, which I love Pirates of the Caribbean, and I love that role. And then we've seen him in various Tim Burton movies where he's usually killing Helena Bonham Carter. I heard a really interesting thing about Johnny Depp recently, which was that Johnny Depp has become a parody of himself, which to some extent I agree with. I feel like Johnny Depp is now in Tim Burton movies parodying Johnny Depp in Tim Burton movies, as opposed to being anything remotely original or expressive. I feel like the last movie he did that I enjoyed him in was Sweeney Todd. And that was a long time ago now. I think that was like 7 or 8 years ago. I don't think I ever actually got around to seeing that. It's good. I do recommend it. Yeah, I might have to check it out. But let's say he's in Tim Burton's films killing Helena Bonham Carter. Yeah. At the moment, that seems to be. I think he must have sold his soul to Tim Burton, because he's never aged. So I think that's just part of the deal. Yeah. But before he was in 3 years earlier. I think he was in From Hell, which is just about Jack the Ripper, and that was amazing as well. But I think Secret Window is it's so well acted. It's psychological thriller. Yeah, psychological thriller. And I've seen it like countless times, and it still has me, like, I'm still glued to it.
you know, I will put a film on and I'll be doing other things. It's just like I like to listen to them, but that's something I'm like, it's there, it's on, and I've got to sit and watch it.
I'm not going to offer a spoiler here, but there is a wow factor to this movie.
Yeah, definitely.
And I'll leave it at that because I feel like that kind of sums it up.
Yeah.
So yeah, just like moving into more of like getting to know you. Are there certain actors that you'd kind of follow anywhere in film? Like for me personally, I really love Greta Gerwig or Maya Wasikowska, if that's how you pronounce her name. Do you know the girl who played Alice in Alice in Wonderland, the Tim Burton movie?
Yeah, and I can't think.
Like I'm really into her, and
yeah.
I would watch pretty much any film with Leonardo DiCaprio in.
Yeah, I agree, definitely. Everyone's got to love a little bit of Leonardo DiCaprio. I mean, like, he's frequently described as our generation's Marlon Brando, and I think when you go back to like the golden age of Hollywood, you think Marlon Brando. You think if you're being compared to Marlon Brando, you can't really ask for much more. I think if Leonardo DiCaprio was to play the same character that Marlon Brando played in On the Waterfront, and he was to do the famous line of "I could have been a contender, I could have been somebody," it would mean so much more to our contemporary audience, because Leonardo DiCaprio could have been somebody, he could have been a contender, but the Oscars have snubbed him over and over and over again. Yeah, and I think our generation kind of takes it as a bit of a personal insult.
Yeah.
But yeah, I actually did quite a bit of research into the Oscars and the Academy during award season. So yeah, maybe the Oscars not worth as much as it's trumped up to be. So yeah if you want to check out thefilmmagazine.com and have a little look-see. A couple of posts on American Sniper and Selma, and one on racism in the Academy. It's interesting. So
you can find both the article, which is entitled "Is the Academy Racist?" and the other article, which I believe is entitled
American Sniper versus Selma.
That's the Academy Racist one. So it's that one, and there's another one, but they're both in the slider at the top of the page. So if you just scroll through the slider, you'll find them. They're both discussing the lack of diversity within the Academy itself and within the Academy's choices this year. And they're eye-opening articles which look at the ways in which the films are chosen, but also looks at the history of the Academy as well, with regard to their lack of equality, their lack of diversity, that kind of thing, throughout history. So, yeah, as Kat says, it's probably not the best idea to put that much emphasis on the Academy Awards as the epitome, the very top of the hierarchy of the film industry, because of these reasons. Yeah,
I mean, if you are interested in film history and history of Hollywood, it is looking at the origins of the Big Five and Little Three, and most of the, I think is it either 5 or 6 out of those 8 studios were all founded on Eastern European immigrants, Jewish immigrants who escaped anti-Semitism in Europe and travelled to America. So it's really, really interesting when you start to look at it, and when you compare it, like Joe's just said, to how there's a lack of diversity in the Academy's choices this year. I mean, last year, was it 12 Years a Slave?
Yeah.
Was it Best Picture?
It won Best Director.
Oh.
I don't know if it won Best Picture.
It got quite a few nominations though, didn't it?
Yeah.
And you can always see, oh look, but there's a film about people of colour, or go back a few years and look at Brokeback Mountain, or it's a film about the gay community. Bridesmaids, it's a female-oriented film, female-led cast. But it's kind of like clutching at straws. It's like, oh well, there's odd examples here and there, but overwhelming evidence to suggest otherwise, and it is really interesting.
I was actually wrong. Sorry to interrupt. I was actually wrong about 12 Years a Slave. It didn't win Best Director, it won Best Picture, which is more interesting in many ways because it won 4 Academy Awards. And other than Lupita Nyong'o, who won the Best Supporting Actress award, all of the awards were won by people in roles, well, by white people, basically. So like the roles that were done by black people for a movie about black people and black history weren't nominated. Were nominated, but they didn't win. So yeah, so like in many ways they kind of did in 2014 say, look at us, we've overcome racial boundaries, but in doing so only really reaffirmed the norm, which is that white people are responsible for this equality and not black people, which is a horrible, atrocious and somewhat dangerous idea to continue putting across.
It's just sort of reinforces like the dominant ideology that when we've grown up, we're more sheltered. We don't in the UK we don't have as greater racial interaction, you know.
Yeah, like we don't have as much diversity.
We do in America, as they do in America, but you know, it just reaffirms the white male perspective, if you like, and
me and Katie have discussed on this podcast before the issues with these kind of things, because we were discussing it in terms of race or in terms of sex or sexuality, for example, and I'll kind of arc back to what I said about that, which was that the whole of the industry needs to change. They're worried constantly about whether or not a film will sell, and so they don't move away from the already tried and tested formulas of what has sold. Yet when they do, and they invest a large amount of money in it, they make a lot of money back. Like, there's no denying that The Hunger Games, starring Jennifer Lawrence, was one of, if not the highest grossing films last year. That was a film for women primarily, stereotypically, and starred a woman, because women go and watch films too. Everyone goes to watch films, and this is obviously a massive issue with the industry as a whole, but the Oscars are obviously the representatives of the industry in the West, of Hollywood, and should therefore at least try to initiate some sort of change, as opposed to just reaffirming what is already there, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I mean, I think, like you say, the Hunger Games, it is marketed, I think, more towards women because they've done the same as what they did with Twilight, which I'm not going to pretend to be an expert on because I fell asleep reading New Moon and never got any further. So they brought into with Twilight, it was Team Edward, Team Jacob, and it just became about who would she choose, who would Bella choose. And they've done that with the Hunger Games, and it's really annoyed me, and I know I'm not alone in this. You know, it's become Team Gale, Team Peter, and it's not about that, it's about a woman, a young girl, born, you know, she's born into poverty, you know, she's like, District 12 is like the poorest, or one of the poorest districts in Pan Am, and, you know, she's got to go to the Hunger Games, and she's got to fight, and she's got, you know, she's got so much fight, and it's not driven by men at all, it was driven by saving her sister, by saving Prim, and yeah, the media have kind of done exactly what the Capitol do in the film. They've bought into the love life side of it. And it's not, it's about saving what the people you love. It's about standing up for what you want. And she doesn't go out to become a leader of the rebellion, and it sort of happens accidentally. But, you know, it just shows how much you can achieve and how much you can help people and things like that. It's nothing to do with men.
Yeah. Also, another example is the Divergent series with Shailene Woodley. Again, another film where it's led by a woman. It's another blockbuster type film. The first film, Divergent, did terrifically well at the box office, and early reports are suggesting that Insurgent hasn't done as well as Divergent, but still will be a financial success.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't get around to seeing Divergent when it came out. I've read the book. I haven't read Insurgent yet. But if the film's as good as the book, it will be good. It's going to be a good series. And like you say, it's another film led by women that, there is a romantic interest, but that's not what it's about. It's about going out, doing things, making difference, about, initiating changes, and
Yeah.
I think we need more films like that. And
Yeah, there just needs to be more difference. There needs to be more different films. I know there's a big thing in the French film industry at the minute that a lot of North and West African French language speaking people are making French language films from the perspective of their own upbringing, which is obviously significantly different to the white middle class man of Paris or another big city in France. And this has kind of shaken up the French film industry quite a lot in recent years, and I feel like there needs to be something similar happening in Hollywood. I feel like too often the choices at the Oscars are political or downright stupid.
Yeah.
And too often the producers and distributors of movies are too concerned of making that extra $5 million on top of that $1 billion they've already made, that they'll cast the same old, do all the same old stuff because that's what has worked before. And like I say, there needs to be a change. There needs to be a day when it's just as likely for you to be the director of a movie as it is for me.
Yeah, I mean, like you say, there's a lot of questions about the nominations to the Academy Awards and being political and things like that, but they've got a tried and tested method, and it sells. We've all done it. We'll go and watch a rom-com. It's funny.
Yeah.
You have a laugh. You come out feeling all happy and soppy and all that kind of stuff, and it's a feel-good film. And I think for especially like you think the last 15 years, we've had 9/11. War in Iraq, conflict in the Middle East, it's all been rammed down our throats. And these films, they take our minds off of things like that. And so they've become this tried and tested method. It distracts you from reality, and they make money. At the end of the day, it is a business, and they've found a way of making money. And business isn't always fair, is it?
No, that's true. But again, like these are our own frustrations with the industry.
Yeah.
And this is another reason why we will enjoy viewing your films that you submit to us and shortlisting them, because it's new, it's different, it's something else. It's not this multi-million dollar franchise or universe. It's not the same old stuff over and over again. It's new, it's fresh, it's interesting. Yeah, it's low budget, but that doesn't matter. As long as there's something creative, different and interesting, we'll enjoy it. And that's all that matters, really.
Yeah, I think with short films as well, you've got a lot more opportunity to experiment. So I think we've set a limit for our short films on 15 minutes, because I think it's a nice length, and you can do that really, I won't say easily, but you can do it on a low budget or no budget. But you can mess about, you can experiment, and you've not got to set up a feature-length film of an hour and a half in that style.
Yeah.
You could do a 5-minute film in one style and then think, well, I'm not really sure, and try something else. You've got so much freedom with short films. I mean, there's like films shot with drones are becoming really popular.
Yeah.
That's kind of what piqued my interest with short films last year.
Yeah, and you can actually find Kat's articles about postcards from Pripyat, Chernobyl, and the largest cave in the world in Vietnam, which is...
I'm not going to try and pronounce the name because I'm not entirely sure.
It's a cave in Vietnam, so obviously the cave's in Vietnamese. The cave's name is Vietnamese, so we won't even try to pronounce that name because we'll probably butcher it. But you can find both of those articles on the filmmagazine.com at the minute. They're pretty recent, so they're both under the latest post tab. And you can find them, you can find the videos in full, the movies, short films in full, on the filmmagazine.com.
Yeah, I think that's, like I say, with drones and GoPro, that's becoming really popular. I mean, one of my cousins was putting up videos on Facebook. He'd got a drone for Christmas and had his camera on it, and it's just something that people can experiment with, and it's like so the equipment is expensive, obviously going to be expensive to buy, but again, once it becomes more popular and prices come down and it's something else you can, and if you've got the skill to fly drones with cameras on, it can take away a lot of your rigs with cameras on and things like that.
Yeah.
For getting high angle shots, it's another sort of thing to explore, and so you can just have so much fun with short films.
Yeah, and I feel like just as like to reiterate what the whole point of this competition is we're looking for originality. If you send us a film and it's 5 minutes of some fruit going mouldy, that sounds brilliant to me. I'd watch that film. I'd enjoy that film.
Czech film director Jan Spankmeyer, I think his name was, did a live action version of Alice in Wonderland, and I'm pretty sure there was like lots of rotting fruit in that film, and in Little Attic, one of his other films. So you never know. Mouldy fruit could, it could be a stepping stone. It could go splat, but it could be good.
We're open to anything. Just something that's different. Even if you make a film which is a rom-com and it's 10 minutes long, that's still good. Like, just submit anything and everything. We'll judge it, we'll promote it, we'll do what we do, and you'll get your name out there, which I think is the most important thing. And that kind of like wraps up this whole interview, to be honest.
Yeah.
It's been enjoyable. Thank you for coming along.
You're welcome. I'm liking sitting in York University's pods looking out. We've got birds flying past, and apparently the largest concentration of geese in the country, so I'm just enjoying bird watching really on the lake, so and talking about films, so can't do much better for a Saturday afternoon really.
Well, it has been fun. Just quickly, will you be seeing Home, the Gunman or Mommy this week?
No, I'm afraid I'm not going to get to the cinema this week.
Well, they're the latest releases. Again, people can find that on filmmagazine.com. I'm Joe, with my not-so-usual partner, Kat.
Yeah.
And...
not so usual is a good word. Phrase, rather.
And this has been the Film Mobcast on SoundCloud. You can find the Film Mobcast on the Film Magazine's social networking sites, Twitter, YouTube, Facebook, Tumblr, Pinterest, and Google Plus as the Film Magazine with 2 M's, and you can find everything that you need to know about film news, reviews, featurettes, columns,
and our competition.
Just
in case you've forgotten after us talking about it for an hour.
on thefilmmagazine.com. Thank you. Bye.
Bye.